The movie starts on the night of Christmas, where everyone is decorating their homes. In this house, we see a man named Manel who had come to his elder sister's house with his wife and was playing with his nephew. As the night was getting dark, he went to put his nephew to sleep so that he could go home. After that, he says goodbye to his sister and leaves. While his wife was driving the car, Manel notices that her mood is not right. Manel asks, "What is it? Tell me." His wife responds, "You know I want a baby." Manel says, "I want one too, but not now. At the right time." His wife gets angry, saying, "You don't want one." They were arguing when a car went ahead of them and crossed their path, taking their car out of control. His wife somehow managed to regain control, but the car went to the wrong side. Before the car could hit anything, a truck collided with their car. The car overturned, and they were in a bad condition. In this accident, Manel's life was saved, but his wife was killed. Now let's look at the time a year later, where Manel lives with his cat in a big house. He learned from the news that a dangerous virus is spreading throughout the country, due to which borders might be closed. This is to ensure that people stay where they are and avoid the virus. Those infected with this virus become very violent, angry, and more cruel than usual, like zombies, and they bite others badly. However, now the virus is somewhat under control, and infected people are not biting like zombies. This is the first variant of the virus. The news is filled with debates about how this virus started, but Manel didn't care about all this. He was already very sad after his wife's death, which is why he didn't take any precautions and went out to the city in his car. We see "Welcome to the beginning of the end" written in many places, implying the start of the apocalypse. Manel came to the seaside because his wife had bought a boat, which Manel had come to sell. When he was going back after meeting the customer, his sister Belen called, but Manel didn't answer. Then he went to a store where people were buying food like crazy. Although it was advised in the news to buy only necessary items, people were scared that if a lockdown was imposed, they wouldn't be able to leave their homes. Hence, they felt it was necessary to stock up on essential items. After coming home, Manel called his sister Belen. She told him that her husband is in the army, so they were being sent to an island to avoid the virus infection. They were given a house to stay there, and she asked Manel to come with them. They were leaving that night. But Manel clearly refused. Belen insisted, saying, "My brother, we should stay together at this time. So please come. And yes, flights are also going to the island from the airport near you. So no doubt, come tomorrow, but do come." Although Manel himself did not want to go, he agreed to his sister's insistence. The next morning, he left for the airport with his cat. On the way, he saw many other people driving to the airport to go to the island. Manel was listening to the news and found out that the second variant of the virus, the next wave, had come at night. This variant spreads by infecting the blood of the infected person. Manel reached the airport and was in a long line to buy tickets because everyone wanted to go to the island. But then it was announced that the flight to the island had been cancelled, which made everyone worry about how they would get to the island now. Manel then received a call from Belen. She said that the airport was being closed because of the second variant of the virus, which was why all the flights were cancelled. For now, she advised him to go home and not go out. She assured him that she would keep updating him and tell him what to do next. Then a riot broke out at the airport too, and Manel somehow managed to get out with his cat and left for home. On the way, he encountered long lines of traffic. Even after waiting for many hours, when the traffic did not clear, he took his cat and started walking home on foot. It was night by the time he got home. What he saw shocked him. Army men were standing near his neighbor's house, where they had set up a plastic tunnel around the house and were forcibly dragging the neighbor out because he was infected with the new variant of the virus. Manel went inside and slept. The next morning, Belen called again. She said that the situation was getting worse. It was heard that the government was making a safe zone for people to keep them away from infection, as they would be quarantined there. But the inside news suggested that it would be more dangerous there. Obviously, if a large number of people were in one place, the risk of infection could increase. So, she told him to stay home and not go to the safe zone at all. She assured him that once the situation got better, they would take him from there. Manal saw on the news that the borders had been closed. When he checked his phone, there were also videos showing how this virus was being transmitted and how to protect oneself from infected people. Seeing this, Manal was worried about what was happening in the country. Then the government sent an emergency message that after a few hours, everyone should stay indoors and markets would also be closed. That's why Manal went to the store to buy food. But people had already emptied the entire store, and half of the things Manal tried to buy were being snatched away by others. Manal managed to put some things in his bag and headed out. Then he saw an infected person attacking the police. Manal came out with a rod to save the police officer, but the infected person's attention turned towards him. He started running towards Manal. Manal tried to save himself, but then the infected person was shot dead by the officer's bullet. Manal moved forward to help the officer, but the officer was also infected due to a cut. The officer told Manal to stay away. After Manal left, the officer shot himself to prevent harming others. Manal went home and arranged for his security. He put extra locks, rods, and keys on the door to ensure no one could enter. By evening, the network was also shut down. At night, the army brought a bus to his area to transport people to the safe zone. They announced for everyone to sit in the bus. Manal turned off the lights at home and hid so that people wouldn't take him with them. 2 weeks later, Manal was left alone in the entire area. He made a video for his sister, saying that he was fine, but the food and drink supplies had run out. When he tried to send the video, he couldn't because the network was shut down. He thought that if he didn't die from the infection, he would die of hunger. So, he took his weapons and went in search of food. He checked many houses but found nothing to eat. He had come a long way from his house. When he entered a house, he met an old woman on a wheelchair because her legs didn't work. Manal thought he would find food there, but there was none. The old woman told him that she had kept an eye on some houses in the area and suggested he check those houses. She hoped there would be food there. When Manal checked the mentioned houses, he found food, which he and the old woman ate to satisfy their hunger. The old woman then told Manal that it would have been better if he had gone with the army. If they didn't find anything to eat, they would die of hunger. Manal said they shouldn't lose hope and that he would go and find more food. In another house, Manal found a lot of food, which he brought back. At night, both were very happy after eating their fill. He told the old woman about his wife and said it was a good thing she had died, as they were now suffering with no food. After talking for a while, he returned to his house. He made more videos for his sister, hoping that whenever the network returned, the videos and messages would be sent. He then went to sleep, but was awakened by the old woman's voice on the walkie-talkie. She told him to turn on the radio. When he turned it on, government officers announced that those who were still alive should come to the camping area safe zone where they would be helped and sent to Ireland. The old woman told Manal through the walkie-talkie that she didn't think it was right to go there because infection could spread quickly in a crowded area. Manal said that they had a shortage of food and would have to go there. She said that she was in a wheelchair and wouldn't be able to go. Manal assured her that he would help her and take her with him. The next morning, he packed his luggage and went to the old woman's house, but was heartbroken to find that she had died after taking too much medication. She had left a letter thanking him for taking care of her and explaining that she didn't want to be a burden anymore, so she took this step. She encouraged him to go ahead alone. With a sad heart, Manal left the house alone but was attacked by an infected woman. He pushed her away and shot her to save himself, feeling bad about doing so. He left another message for his sister, saying that infected people had come into the streets and he couldn't wait for her to come and take him. So, he decided to go to the safe zone camping area himself, from where he would be sent to the island. Because the roads were closed, he started going through the jungle, but a lot of infected people followed him. He didn't stop the bike and reached the camping area where he was supposed to go. But unfortunately, there were also piles of dead bodies there because all the people who had come had died due to the infection. Now, his bike overturned after colliding with a dead body, causing the box with the cat to fall down. When he tried to start the bike again, he couldn't do it. So he took the box with the cat and walked out of the jungle because the infected people were after him. He ran to a building and closed the door. Infected people started hitting their heads against the door, so he left through the back exit. He saw a small ship, but he was worried to see blood on it. Then the cabin started making noise, and when he opened the door, there was a small baby who was also infected and looking very drowsy. Mennel thought that if an adult were infected, he would have killed them and taken the ship. But how could he kill a child? Thinking this, he took a small boat from the ship and left. On the way, he messaged Belen, saying, "Sister, you were right not to go to the safe zone because the situation is bad there too. Some people died, and some became infected." It was night while traveling, and in the water, he also saw the dead bodies of the infected people. Then he saw a small ship coming towards him. He signaled it and stopped it. The people on the ship pointed a gun at Mennel. But when he said that he was not infected, they brought him on board. They all went to a bigger ship, and Mennel and his cat were fed. There were 3 people on this ship. One was the pilot, the captain of the ship, and the third was the captain's son. The pilot gave Mennel a cabin to sleep in. He asked the pilot if he was the only one they found alive. The pilot said, "Yes, you are the first." After the pilot left, Mennel looked out of the window and saw a family coming towards the ship for help. The next morning, Mennel met the other people who had been living there. He asked the pilot about the family that came to the ship for help last night. The pilot said, No one came last night." Hearing this, Mennel felt strange and started to look at everything very carefully. He told the pilot, the family who came last night, they were kept in the basement. The pilot said, "Don't think too much and mind your own business." Mennel felt strange again. He said, "You are a pilot, so what are you doing on the ship with them? I know there are planes and helicopters in the nearby area. We can go to the island through them." The pilot got angry and said, "Mennel, if you want to stay alive, mind your own business." But now Mennel thought of running away alone. When he started to leave at night, he remembered the family. He went to the basement looking for them, where the family members were tied up with bandages on their mouths. Mennel removed the bandages and asked, "Where is the woman and child?" Mennel refused to say he didn't know. But then the captain's man came and pointed a gun at Mennel. Before he could shoot, Mennel said, "I don't know where they are." At that moment, the pilot came and killed the captain's man. The pilot scolded Mennel, saying, "I told you to stay away from these matters." After that, Mennel quietly ran away with the small boat, but the captain's people saw them and started shooting. The man they had just saved was killed, and the pilot got injured. When Mennel reached the shore, he took the pilot to the hospital where they could get a helicopter from the roof. On the way, Mennel asked what happened to the family's woman and child. The pilot said that the captain was a very bad and disgusting person. He saved people, took them to the island, made the men his slaves, and did wrong things to the women. After hearing this, Mennel got angry and said that once the situation got better, people who took advantage of others in trouble should be punished. As soon as they reached the hospital, Mennel started running towards them to attack. But Mennel shot them all with his machine gun and killed them. Then he came in with the pilot's support, but there were no nurses or doctors there. There was blood everywhere, indicating that there was destruction there too. The pilot told Mennel to take out his bullet. Mennel had never done this before, nor was it his profession. But today, the situation was so difficult that he had to act as a doctor himself. When he went to pick up his stuff, another infected man followed him. Menel shot him with great difficulty and saved his life. But the sound of the gun attracted a lot of infected people who followed Menel. He saved his life and ran away when a nurse came in front of him and helped him. She took Menel to an area where the infected people had not reached yet. Apart from this nurse, there was a doctor and 3 children there. Menel went to another room to take out the bullet. Then he comes and tells that he has taken out the bullet and will be fine after some time. Menel tells him that he is a pilot by profession and asks if there are helicopters here. The nurse responds that, yes, there are helicopters, but they are on the ground surrounded by a lot of infected people. So going there is not free of danger. Menel tells the nurse that when their accident happened, he brought his wife there. Then he goes to the place where his wife died. With a sad heart, he says, "Please forgive me that I did not listen to you. I needed time to be ready for a child. But I did not know that you would leave me so soon." Now Menel goes up and thinks about how to get to the helicopter safely. Then his phone starts ringing, and a lot of messages start coming in, indicating the network is back. When he checks, he sees Belen's video message saying, "We have reached the island. There is something very good here. We are enjoying a lot." Now Menel was about to tell them about himself when he hears the sound of bullets. These were some goons who had come in search of food. Menel quickly goes down and tells them that the goons have come to the hospital. He says that before the goons reach the helicopter, they will have to get there first. Now he starts moving forward while avoiding the infected people. An infected person comes and bites the doctor. Although Menel kills him, Menel starts thinking that he might also be infected. He tells the nurse to take care of the children, and then she goes inside the infected person's area. After that, they move forward. Now they had to go to the helicopter while avoiding the infected people. Then Menel uses his brain. He sees some barricades here, under which there are also tires. He joins all those barricades and makes a circle in which they enter and leave. But a tire gets stuck in one place. When he tries to get rid of it, the tire cracks and makes a noise that attracts all the infected people. Because of the barricades, they cannot harm them, but when all the infected people start climbing from above, he starts killing them with an axe. But their number is very high, and there seems to be no end. Meanwhile, the nurse opens a barricade, runs away with the children, and quickly sits in the helicopter. After a while, the pilot also gets in the helicopter. But something goes wrong, and the helicopter does not start. Some infected people jump over the gate and start coming towards the helicopter area. Then Menel quickly comes and starts cutting them with an axe. Hearing this, the goons also arrive. They also have guns and enter the helicopter area. Menel and the pilot are worried about what to do. Both of them make a plan by looking at each other. Menel breaks a gate with his axe so that a lot of infected people can enter the helicopter area quickly. Now the goons get busy fighting the infected. By then, the helicopter had also started, and the pilot takes off. The nurse throws a ladder down for Menel, and with great difficulty, he climbs and gets into the helicopter. He is very happy because he is just about to reach the island. He calls Belen and says, "Sister, I have shown the house. I am about to reach the island." The helicopter is about to land. But from the other side, Belen says something that makes Menel concerned. She tells him, "My brother, go back immediately because there are a lot of infected people here too. This place is also not safe anymore." And the call gets cut off. Despite that, Menel lands the helicopter on the island, determined to save his sister and her family and take them back. And with this, the film ends here.